Get ready to be both amused and grossed out by these fascinating medical facts from history. From ancient Egyptian remedies to modern-day surgical marvels, the history of medicine is filled with surprising stories and bizarre practices. It's amazing to think about how far we've come in terms of medical knowledge and technology, but sometimes the irony is hard to ignore. For example, did you know that in the early 20th century, doctors prescribed heroin as a cough suppressant and pain reliever? And today, we have to sign a million waivers and show our ID just to get a bottle of cough syrup. So let's take a trip through time and explore the weird and wonderful world of medicine. Did you know medical students in the past used to dissect cadavers stolen from graves, leading to an illegal trade in bodies known as body snatching? Did you know the ancient Egyptians used to treat toothaches with a mixture of crushed mice, human urine, and herbs? Did you know the drug thalidomide was once prescribed to pregnant women to treat morning sickness, but it caused thousands of babies to be born with severe birth defects? During World War I, doctors used maggots to help clean out infected wounds. The first known surgery for cataracts was performed by an Indian doctor named Sushruta over 2,000 years ago. The ancient Greeks believed that the left testicle was higher than the right, and that this was a sign of intelligence. In the 19th century, doctors used to use leeches to drain blood from patients in order to treat a wide range of illnesses. The heart pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood each day. Before modern anesthesia was developed, patients undergoing surgery were given alcohol, opium, or even held down forcibly to keep them from moving. The world's first recorded heart surgery was performed in ancient Egypt, around 3,500 years ago. In the past, some doctors believed that the best way to cure a patient of illness was to bleed them, which involved removing large amounts of blood. The word placebo comes from the Latin word meaning, I shall please. A person can live without food for more than a month, but only about a week without water. In some parts of the world, it is still common for people to seek treatment from traditional healers who use plants, animals, and other natural remedies. The record for the world's longest surgery is held by a team of doctors in Singapore, who worked for 103 hours to separate conjoined twins. The first successful blood transfusion was performed in 1665 by the British physician Richard Lower. The average person sheds about 600,000 particles of skin every hour. In the early 20th century, heroin was commonly prescribed as a cough suppressant and pain reliever. Some hospitals have medical clowns, who visit patients to provide a source of humor and stress relief. The first successful human heart transplant was performed in 1967 by South African surgeon Christiaan Barnard. In the early 1900s, radium was believed to have health benefits and was used in a variety of medical products, from toothpaste to suppositories. Doctors used to recommend smoking as a way to relieve stress and promote good health. Cigarettes were even marketed as doctor recommended in the mid-20th century. The placebo effect is so powerful that even fake surgeries can sometimes be just as effective as real ones. The smallest bone in the human body is the stapes bone in the ear, which is only a few millimeters long. The average human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap. The longest recorded case of hiccups lasted for 68 years. The first clinical trials for a polio vaccine were conducted on institutionalized children, who were deliberately infected with the virus. The ancient Greeks believed that illnesses were caused by an imbalance of bodily fluids, which they called humors. The first known case of a successful blood transfusion from one human to another was in 1818, when a Scottish doctor named James Blundell transfused blood between 2 women who had recently given birth. The human nose can detect over 1 trillion different scents, making it one of the most powerful sense organs in the body. The average person produces about 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva per day, which helps to moisten and break down food in the mouth. In the early 20th century, people used to take radium-laced water as a health tonic, believing that it could cure a wide range of illnesses. The ancient Chinese used to treat headaches by drilling a small hole in the skull, a practice known as trepanation. In the Middle Ages, people believed that carrying a bag of herbs and spices could protect them from disease. The world's first successful organ transplant was a kidney transplant performed in 1954 by the American surgeon Joseph Murray. The ancient Greeks used to treat wounds with honey, which has natural antibacterial properties. The average human brain contains about 100 billion neurons, which are responsible for controlling everything from movement to emotions. In the 18th and 19th centuries, people used to wear smelling salts to revive them from fainting spells. The world's first vaccine was developed by the English physician Edward Jenner in 1796 to protect against smallpox. The human body contains about 100,000 miles of blood vessels, which if stretched out, could circle the earth 4 times. The ancient Romans used to treat gout by drinking a mixture of wine and ground-up earthworms. The concept of using disinfectants to sterilize medical equipment was first introduced by the French scientist Louis Pasteur in the 19th century. The world's first X-ray was taken by the German physicist Wilhelm Röntgen in 1895. The ancient Egyptians used to treat constipation with a mixture of honey and dried figs. The world's first successful bone marrow transplant was performed in 1956 by the American physician E. Donald Thomas. The first birth control pill was approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration in 1960. The world's first successful test tube baby was born in 1978, marking a major breakthrough in fertility treatment. The ancient Greeks used to treat snake bites with a mixture of crushed herbs and vinegar. In the 19th century, people used to take arsenic as a cure for a wide range of illnesses, including syphilis, rheumatism, and even baldness.